Hello and welcome to This Week in Bitcoin on a very special day. It's White Paper Day on October 31st, 2008. Satoshi published a white paper, and in that celebration, we're going deep down into the news of the week. News item number one is the Federal Reserve, which lowered its key interest rates. And this comes not really with a surprise. Most people in the financial news media, but also experts in regarding to central banking, expected the rates to drop. The Federal Reserve Board is now aiming for a key interest rate range from 3.75 to 4%, lowering by 25 basis points. And you would expect if that happens that the markets would react quite positively because after all, you can now get money more on the cheap. It makes more sense, especially for creditors and debitors to exchange their goods. However, the markets didn't actually react that well. Bitcoin at the time of recording this video is hovering around 109,000 US dollars per coin. And major tech companies aside, the main capital markets didn't also react too overall positively. Seems like everyone was already anticipating rate cuts and is already eager for December and the next possible announcement of a further cut. Second news is, if we already speak about the price, also price related, with Michael Saylor going on the bold again, claiming he sees $150,000 per Bitcoin until the end of the year. He made this statement prior to the Fed announcement, where he stated if the Fed is lowering interest rates and it's easier to borrow money on the cheap, plus liquidity rises in the M2 supply, Bitcoin should do its thing. Well, this is always easier said than done. He also has a 4 to 8 year price target of $1 million per coin. And time will tell whether Saylor is right here. These price predictions are always very much hyped because they get picked up in social media or the crypto media in general. However, the current situation is roughly 109,000 per coin. And you know what? That is also good because that's what the market is currently seeing Bitcoin valued at. And last, but definitely not least, we also have some major news internally where we at Relai have now secured the MiCA license issued by us by the French regulator, the AMF. And with that, we are now able to also offer the services in the EU. This is a major milestone because we've just been the second Bitcoin company in France to get this and the first one in the German-speaking area. With that, we'll be able to target EU users, and we frankly also need this in terms of a regulation standpoint because from 2026 on, you will need to have a MiCA license to be able to serve EU customers. With this new license, we can now offer things such as faster bank transfers. You get local bank account in euro, so the cost will be reduced for you. You don't need to send money to Switzerland anymore, to our Swiss account. And on the other hand, we also have things like higher trading limits and a locked-in price at purchase. So we're fully transparent and you can always see what you get for your euros. Additionally, we've already also completed the passporting. It gets a bit technical here, but essentially we're also now registered through our MiCA license in all of the countries we wanted in the EU and can now also offer, of course, dedicated educational materials. We in marketing can actually be more proactive and can bring Bitcoin to as many people as possible in Europe. And with that, we're at the end of This Week in Bitcoin. You know the drill. If you got questions, feedback, or just want to say hello, leave me a comment below. And I look forward to seeing you next week again.